Starter. I've got the phone plugged in. It was at 75%, then it was at 22%, then it's at 37%. It wouldn't restart. I had to remove the battery. Anyhow, 30 minutes later, I took the starter apart and I changed, put in a bushing because this one was not even in the starter. Junk. Bushing collection, you saw that. Bushings installed. I was trying to put the starter back together and I broke one of the brush holders. The made in China brush holder. I never broke one in all the years of rebuilding starters since I'm probably 18 years old. Just snapped right off. I went to get a part starter and luckily I've got a whole shelf full. I took off one of the brush holders and I'm losing my balance. And I put in a new used top quality GM AC Delco brush holder and I put it all back together and they saved you the pain of watching. And I took out the bolt. It had a bolt with the extra stud on it for the reinforcement. This car doesn't use it. It doesn't have a bracket on the block. I also noticed something else interesting. I was looking at the starter housing. It says made in China. It's actually remanufactured in China because this is a genuine AC Delco Remy. Can you see that? Delco Remy. Date code K23. Is that what the date code is? It's the part number 1108500 2K23. What's that date code? Who knows? So I put it all back together and I'm going to test it while I hold the phone with these crappy extra triple crappy booster cables that I got at a flea market for $2. But they're good enough for what I need them for. They've got as much telephone, as much wire inside as a telephone cable. Check this out. There's the lens. Look at that. How junko. Not much wire in there. But they do the job. So I put it all back together. Hopefully I didn't forget any parts. And let's see what happens if I test it. You're supposed to use a special meter that shows how much draw, and that's way too complicated for a low-tech farmer like me. The smaller the spark, the less draw it takes. The smaller spark is. And then you put it on the bolt, and you don't want to mix up the threads, and you touch it to the nut, not the threads, otherwise you won't be able to get the nut on. There's actually a clearance you're supposed to have between 30 and 120,000. You check that by doing this. See that clearance right there? It's supposed to be between, I think, 30,000 or 40,000 and 120,000. Whatever, it's within spec. So who knows what's made in China here? That's a rebuilt solenoid. Who knows what's made in China? So to put the camera on pause while I crawl underneath and bolt it on, I guess I'll do that. That way I don't have to make 3 videos, just 2 videos. So there it is, one rebuilt, made in China, AC Delco starter with one good made in USA part. I've got lots of these on the shelf. Doesn't have as much rolling friction going backwards, so this drive is weak. Good for a vehicle you want to sell. I'm going to pause you and crawl underneath. Got some more bushings here. 6.2 diesel. It's bigger armature. All right, 10 minutes later, I got the starter installed. And it's not too hard to get to once you remove the oil filter. Those bolts up there aren't too bad. And a variety of ratchets. Short ones, long ones, and battery's going dead again. Oh boy, I just had 37%, so I'm gonna, before the battery goes dead, I'm gonna crank this baby up. See if I had success. Lying on my Moto Master creeper that I've had for a million years. Reconnect the battery cable. I don't like using those stupid battery disconnect things everybody uses at the car shows, those brass things with the green knob. I just leave the battery cable loose, as long as it's clean. Look what I found. I don't want it to start, so I'm not going to pump the gas. Just want to hear what it sounds like when I crank it, if I have enough juice in my phone. 10% battery. Crank that bit up! Like I said, you got to keep the connection tight. No. As long as you clean it. I don't like having it tight. I don't like those ugly things that people put on. So I just clean the connection and leave it snug and never have a problem. And if I do, just jiggle it and it's fine. Crank that booger up! Sounds a lot better, huh? When it spins down, and then like on my buddy's Honda motorcycle. He just had a starter drive put on a Honda 450. The Honda dealer charged him rip-off price, $529 for a NOS starter drive for a Honda 450 Scrambler. I said, you just got taken, buddy. He gave him the okay. They charged him $1,050, put a little windshield on, do a tune-up on it, replace the drive inside the starter. I said, you just got ripped off while I'm at the parts counter with him. So I looked it up on eBay, and I found a good used starter, guaranteed to work for $90, including shipping. And the guy threw me out of the store. He called the cops. He really did, because he was so annoyed or so embarrassed or so ashamed to have charged my buddy $529 for a starter drive and a tune-up on a Honda 450 Scrambler. Look at that. Found an air filter in my pile of junk that's been sitting on the shelf for years, instead of buying one for 10 bucks. Yep, same thing. Look at that. Can't believe this thing. It's probably the original one from when the car was built. Anyways, so he charged him $1,050, threw me out of the store, which I was happy to leave. My friend obviously will never go back to the local Honda dealership. He went to a local small guy around the corner. And his two bikes, he's got a 450 and he just bought a nice 350 in much better shape, both survivors. So the 450, he uses it 2 or 3 times and it won't start. And the starter drive is going just like I told you here with the Bendix. Starter drive, Bendix, same thing. Bike won't start because the Bendix is releasing. NOS, $529. So I said, yeah, go sue him and tell him that the other shop is the honest shop and this shop is a ripoff. Charge him $1,000 bucks. I put on this little rinky-dink windshield, tune up, had a $529 starter drive. Should have bought a genuine, original, used Honda starter on eBay for 90 bucks shipped. Then he would have had a spare one to play around with. So there, success. Now maybe I'll crawl back underneath at 10 o'clock at night and see if I can tighten this exhaust manifold bolt, get rid of that stupid exhaust leak and backfire. So there, one thing at a time, we get it all fixed up. Look at that crappy paint. Gotta put all the sockets away. I'll just leave it like this, I suppose. Oh man, what a mess. What a mess. I bought a light at Lowe's today. This one was 15, and I bought a smaller version, the same one that I'm using now, but it's got a little problem. It's too bright, first of all. It's got this magnet thing that you clamp on. It's got 2 magnets, a little one here, and a big one there, but you can't go over center with it. So it only shines to 90 degrees. So if you're working on a car and you want to shine it, you can't bend it further. So it's got this rinky-dink hook. I like the old metal hook better because you could bend it certain ways. This plastic one is just totally rinky-dink. But it's a good light for $13. Got an LED there and an LED there, nice and bright. It's rechargeable. The only thing is the magnet doesn't spin over center, so can't give you a demonstration now, but when you're using it, you want to flip the magnet further so it's 180 degrees, but no can do. Maybe that other one that I bought, that bigger one. Pivoting base, got a stupid little hook thing.